again, Jen. And I'm happy to be, I see Amoni's hand is up, so I'll let him say something before I proceed.
No, sorry, I was just reminding about recording, but it started. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. All right, so we're very glad to have you tonight. And we are going to talk about leveraging blogging for gender in just climate action. So I welcome you to this workshop. And as we talk about leveraging blogging, and obviously the first thing probably is we are going to ask ourselves, what do we mean when we talk about leveraging blogging for gender and just climate action? So in our thinking is that blogging will offer a unique platform for the teachers of English to share their experiences, their knowledge, passion, and also make positive impact in the world, because through these blogs, people will interact and people will be able to share a lot about climate and gender. So we have to first ask ourselves, what is this climate? And what is this climate action and what is gender? All right, so here today we are hoping that this presentation will help each and every one of us understand the context of climate and gender-based issues in East Africa, understand the role of blogging in education, learn how to create impactful blogs, blog for climate action and gender equality, and also how to assess the impact of blogs, because in assessment, we are able to know the effectiveness of what we are doing. So first things first, let's introduce ourselves through this icebreaker. So I want to call upon someone from the audience to read this for me. I'm sorry, I'm not, my video is off just for connectivity issues. I beg your pardon for that. I want a volunteer to kindly read this caption for me, please.
Okay, I can read it.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Do you agree with the above? Introduce yourself in the chat and give one reason why or why not.
Thank you, Lydia. Go ahead and read this caption. The worldwide.
Okay, worldwide education is the single strongest predictor of climate change awareness, and higher levels of education are associated with pro-environmental behavior, preferences for environmentally friendly policies, and stronger adaptive capacity.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lydia. So to what extent do you agree with this? Please, let's interact in the chat. I know you introduced yourself, but if you're coming in, you can still introduce yourself and tell us if you agree with this or not. And if you do, why? If you don't, why not? Education is the single strongest predictor of climate change awareness, and higher levels of education are associated with pro-environmental behaviors. Do you agree with this or not? Why or why not? I hope the chat has started.
We're still waiting.
Okay. Is education indeed the single strongest predictor of climate change awareness, or is it not?
We have a response. Amoni says, I agree. Education defined broadly is initiating people in modes of understanding and acting on, among others, climate change.
Oh, thank you, Amoni, for that. Any other view? Without education, without awareness of the effect of climate change, would we have proactive measures to fight against climate change? Any other
Yes.
view? Mhm.
Geoffrey says, I agree. In fact, teachers are supposed to give statements on climate
Hiyo
change.
mlango inafungwa.
Kindly mute.
Mtoto mmoja mwenye
Okay, thank you. So in case you think of anything, please feel free to place it in the chat even as we move. So as we are talking about blogging about gender and climate action, then we have to first understand what we mean when we say climate action and just climate action and gender initiatives, because probably of the disparities in gender issues when it comes to climate. So once we understand that, then we move to the next level where we are talking about blogging for these particular causes. So what is climate change? Climate change, we all probably have heard of climate change and we know what's happening, but did you know that the current policies presently in place around the world are projected to result in about 2.7 degrees sense of warming above the level whereby humans can easily survive? Meaning, if we go up to almost 5 degrees, then that becomes unbearable for human survival. So it means we are already past the halfway mark. Okay, so this should be something of concern. And as we've talked about climate education, then probably it is important for us to educate each other about climate change so that we can be able to take the necessary action. So here we have a quote from Simon Steele. He's the Executive Secretary UN on climate change. He says, we must put the climate action machinery to work fully and ensure its vast benefits are equitably shared through a just transition. So let's look at East Africa in relation to climate change. So what I want from you guys is, in the chat, share one significant event that has affected Kenya, Uganda, or East Africa in the last 10 years. And how did the event impact the local community? Any significant event that has affected Kenya or Uganda insofar as climate change is concerned? And how did it impact the local communities?
We have Amoni saying flooding and Geoffrey drought.
Mm-hmm. How did it impact the local communities?
Khadija says floods too. We have Ashaba, hope I'm saying that right. Landslides that have claimed people's lives. Geoffrey says sorry. Drought led to death of people and animals. We have lives were lost by Khadija. We have Roger says drought in Kenya affected food production. Joy says flooding, it led to destruction of property and loss of lives. We have Techno Mobile who is saying, I agree that education provides immense information concerning climate change. We learn and share widely through bloggers. Then we have Khadija, property destruction. Miss Prudy says floods and drought. Many lives were lost, leaving most hopeless. And then Amoni says both floods and drought are led to dire situation, death, displacement, life disruption, name it. And we have Maina who says drought in Kenya that was worst we experienced in the last 40 years reduced students' attendance in institutions. Then we have Lillian. April, May floods caused displacement, affected businesses and school calendar too. Thank you for your
Wow.
response.
All those dire effects of climate change. And this is something that gives us a push to maybe look at this issue of blogging for climate action with an eye that, let's say, an eye of urgency. All right, now that we've had a brief discussion about climate action, climate change, and we already acknowledge the impact it has in the communities. I don't know if maybe everyone can mute themselves. Thank you. So let's also understand gender and gender inequalities, so that now we connect the issue of climate change and gender inequalities, even as we now move towards blogging about these particular issues. So I also want to call upon maybe a volunteer again to read for us this part for gender.
Let me take you through.
Thank you.
Gender inequality affects various sectors in our communities, including education and environmental management. What do you understand by the term gender disparity? That is question 1. 2, which gender carries a disproportionate burden as a result of climate change? 3, how can gender disparity affect climate action?
Yes, thank you, Roger. Maybe think about these questions. I'm looking at a mother at home who strives, for example, to ensure that water is used sparingly. Like maybe they use gray water, they ensure that the water that maybe they use to wash their utensils is used maybe to water the garden, the kitchen garden, okay? Maybe they also look at other ways that they can conserve the electricity at home, for example, because they would always be around the house telling the children, put off the light and all that. So we expect the ladies, the women at home to be able to take care of these issues. So what are we saying? We are saying that the climate issues are mostly taken care of at home by the women. But maybe when it comes to policy issues, you will rarely see the women's voices being heard the way maybe they should be heard. Okay, that is just one example, and it is my point of view. But what is your point of view when we talk about when we try to understand gender disparity? I've tried to explain it from my point of view, but what is your point of view? Which gender carries a disproportionate burden as a result of climate change? Maybe food for thought. And as we move, if you think of something, place it in the chat for us. Okay, so now I want us to look at this particular activity whereby I want us to match the climate gender-related issues with possible solutions. So in the first column, we have the issues. For example, what I was talking about, the traditional roles that women take. They're like, for example, what we can see in this photo here, they're the ones who will go fetching for water. When the rivers are dry, they will walk longer distances to fetch for the water, all right? They're the ones who would take such roles, okay? So, for example, which traditional gender roles, what are the solutions that we can look at in terms of climate and gender issues? How can we deal with traditional gender roles in a way that we are able to fight the disparities that we see at the intersection of climate change and gender issues? So maybe you can place in the chat and match the issues on the first column to the solutions. And Jen, kindly you can read for me what goes into the chat.
So we have a few comments on the comment chat box. We have Techno who says floods that led to landslide killed many people, while other places experience drought, sorry, that claim animals living people's starving to death. Then we have Miss Prudy says gender disparity is the contributing factor for girls in comparison with boys. Then we have Ashaba who says increase of women in government and leadership roles.
Oh, thank you. Thank you all for your comments. Yeah, traditional gender roles, and so A and C, an increase of women in government leadership roles. How about the rest? Climate migration, whereby people have to move to, especially due to displacements. I remember when we had flooding in Kenya, many people were displaced, so they had to move from place to place. Access to clean water and safe environments. What are the solutions for that? Because climate change affects and brings an issue of accessibility of water that is safe, and even environments because of number D, which is conflict. People fight for maybe grazing land and even for fodder for their animals due to climate change. Gender-based violence also increases. So what solutions do you propose?
We have Minor here who says gender disparity is statistical differences, mostly referred to as the gaps reflecting to inequality in some quantity.
Thank you, Minor. Any other go at matching the issues on the first column and the solutions proposed, possible solutions on the second column?
Maybe okay, I can assist. They can either say A, issue A, solution C, issue B. Yeah, thank you, Miss Prudy. So Miss Prudy says D and B.
Conflict and then engagement across gender spectrum.
We have sorry. We have issue A, solution B. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
From Amoni, I sorry, I'm unable to read the rest. But yeah.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to the next slide.
Sorry.
So I think, yes, Jen?
We have, sorry, there are more coming. We have Antonino says B and A. Another says D and D. And we have Elsie who says E and C. Then Amoni says, I think several of the issues can be solved with several of the solutions.
Very true. Very true. Thank you so much. I think with that, we've now sort of gotten preview of what we mean and the challenges that are there when it comes to gender and climate action and the connection between gender and climate action, even as we move towards understanding blogging. So at this juncture, I'm going to let Jen invite my colleague, Chris, to take us through this particular section. Thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you, Rukia. We can appreciate Rukia by sending her some emojis of appreciation. If you are able, please do so. Meanwhile, we want to invite Christopher from Uganda. Christopher, you are most welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, Jen. Sorry, okay. Thank you so much, Jen. Thank you, Kia, for taking us through and what we need to know before we even engage and begin blogging. First of all, I'll apologize for the background noise. We're from a training, Jinja, Uganda. So, apologies in advance. Move on. So, what are the benefits of blogging? And what? Yeah. That's word that comes to your mind. Just one word. Let's use the chat again. What's the word? Your mind will be the word. Okay.
I think we can't hear Christopher. However, we can give him a minute.
Yang
I think maybe Chris can leave the room and then come back.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I spent like the half a minute speaking. First of all, I was apologizing for the background noise. We're traveling from a training that was taking place in Western Uganda for this very same project. So in advance, I apologize for the background noise. And I appreciate the work that has already been done by Rukia and Jen. Well done. Going straight to the presentation, why blog and what are the benefits for English language teachers? So before we even go further, I'll follow the format of the discussion to generate and ideas from you now. What's the one word that comes to your mind when you hear the word blogging? Please don't be cheeky and write blog. So write for me anything that comes to your mind apart from blog when you hear the word blogging in the chat box, please.
We have a few comments. Meanwhile, as I read the comments, kindly edit your name so that we are able to know who is on the chat and also participating to keep our record. Thank you, Techno Mobile Limited. I hope that is possible. Meanwhile, Antoinette says is to share. Lydia says creating awareness. Amoni says blog or public post. Ombiru, Catherine says communicating through media. Tina says space. Miss Prudy says creating forms of content and putting them in on the website. Then Geoffrey says rumors about something. Thank you all.
About something, because we have particularly always known that most of the blogs are around, rumors, maybe for Ugandan context, they're about like celebrities and what they're doing. But also blogs can be used to share very important information. And in this case, we aim to ensure that we are sharing perspectives to ensure that we achieve gender just climate action. So one of the first benefits for any teacher, for UNELTA, we usually encourage that we get more members, even more than those who teach English language. So I'll take it at the value of blogging to a teacher, not only an English language teacher. So for blogging, the first thing is gives you a platform to amplify your voice, because some of the classroom could be about 40 students, or let's say 100 for big or bigger classrooms. But if you're blogging, there's really no limits to the audience that you can reach. So it gives an opportunity for you to amplify your voice. And the design of this project, onto the second point, allows UNELTA and LPAC to work together. So the aim for the teachers who have joined here is to ensure that the teachers of Uganda and the teachers of Kenya are matched together to write and co-author blogs, so that we have both the Ugandan and the Kenyan perspective about climate action, about assessment, about inclusion, and about gender equality. So this provides a platform for connecting with other teachers. And this creates passionate educators who are not only contributing to the world in education, but also forming discussions and making contribution to global citizenry. And then we know that to blog, you must read, you must research, you must have your facts together. And most importantly, you must write. So it exercises all the four, let's say all the two receptive and one productive senses majorly. For some who are very auditory, they can even listen to some of the podcasts, for example, to create content. But largely, blogging allows you to exercise language skills. And it also provides an opportunity for you to have a digital footprint. It gives you an opportunity to do so very many things. Most importantly, as we are in the era of continuous professional development, it allows you to exercise the forces of the 21st century: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and the other C, which I usually forget. So this is an opportunity for you to expand your skills If you forget, if you remember the other C that I've not mentioned, please type it in the chat, because we need to have all the 4 C's. An opportunity to influence policy, not only school policy, not only education policy, but that we're talking about all the 4 aspects that I earlier highlighted: climate change, gender equality, inclusion and assessment. When you are blogging from your aspect, from your area, let's say you're a teacher from where? Embu or Nakuru High School. I hope there's a Nakuru High School in Kenya, or from Kisumu, or from there's an area I liked the last time we went to Kenya. If you're from Beta Siaya or any part of Kenya, if you are blogging, gives you an opportunity to influence policy, contribute to discussions that are taking place in these 4 areas. And we do not have a limit of only doing this in the classroom, but also beyond, because we know that there's a power the internet has. The Internet of Things has given us a freedom to contribute very, very much more than what the 4 walls of the classroom give us. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'd forgotten critical thinking. Please, next slide. Okay. Now that we know that critical thinking is the 4th C, let's use the chart again. And in the next 2 minutes, share how we think blogging can enhance learners' critical thinking. Let's use 2 minutes, please. Then I will, because we're running out of time, I need to hand over to my other co-facilitators. How can blogging enhance learners' critical thinking? Let's use the chat box. Oh yeah, thank you, Amoni, for the 5th C, character. I agree. I'm waiting for you in the chat box.
We have Antonin who says, connect ideas before sharing. Connect ideas before sharing. Thank you, Antonin. Thank you for the comments that are coming in. We have Maina says, promote self-expression, develop analytical thinking, exercise students' creativity, improve students' writing skills, encourages the sharing of resources among students and teachers. Then we have Amon who says, blogging helps learners to think about what they want to say, who they want to say it to, and how they want to say it, and where. Then we have Pavin, learners have to think about the best way to put their message across. Then we have Irene, stimulates emotional intelligence. Lydia, make them interpret and analyze issues. Then the 4th C is collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, and communication. I normally add character. Thank you. Then we have Techno for 5, generate new ideas. Maybe just a reminder, kindly rename the name that appears there if it's not your name, for purposes of getting the names of the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I love the ability of blogs giving students a voice and also allowing them to shape their character and share their input to contribute to a better world. So we believe that this project has a very huge impact. And for me, I love projects that have immediate outcomes. The aim of this, one of the outputs that we intend to have for this project is blogging. So that means that before the end of this project, everyone who is here, we're going to have a survey run through who is interested in blogging will be paired with a person from another country, and they will work together on a piece, on a blog, or even blog posts, because you can write very many blog posts on one blog to ensure that we are working together as sister countries. Even though we have different contexts, Kenya is as different from Uganda as it could be. However, they are also as similar as two neighboring countries could ever be. So we are going to leverage our differences and also find a middle ground in our similarities to ensure that we are building a community of practice that goes beyond our borders, that goes beyond the, what's the Kenyan-Ugandan border, the Maraba, I think Maraba, yeah, the Maraba border from the Ugandan side. I hope it's both. So the aim of this is to ensure that we are co-authoring blog posts that allow, we share workload, that strengths and minimize our weaknesses. So the plan is when we are working together, when you're writing, for example,
Sorry, Christopher, I think we are not able to hear you because of the network.
when a UNELTA member is writing with Alpaca, the or coherent writer, use that advantage to ensure that the person from Kenya or from Uganda learns that from you, as you also learn from others, from them, sorry. And also, but also similar blog that has a theme that runs through an impact. So we believe that by working, we have very rich context in our blog posts, but also we are going to reach, of course, a broader audience. Once you share your blog in your school, I share mine in my school, most obviously, the reach is already doubled by default, owing to the fact that we are not only coming from different schools, but also from different countries. And then we aim to build a strong community where relationships are formed, where we are fostering a sense of belonging and a shared purpose, because we all know there is no border to gender-based violence. Unfortunately, this virtual meeting has come at a time when, if I forget the name, correct me, I think it's Chemtai, a Ugandan athlete, was killed by arson by a Kenyan boyfriend. So these are some of the things that I think would be very, very interesting to interrogate. And this is a timely project because we know that gender-based violence, for example, shows that it knows no borders. We're obviously sure that climate change knows no borders. Inclusion and assessment are one and the same in Uganda and in Kenya. So these are evergreen themes that provide us an opportunity to foster a sense of belonging and shared purpose.
Jen, can you hear Christopher?
No. I don't know. Mhm.
I think the network.
Yeah, I think he's not online. Maybe we can share. Yes, we can share a few things that we have learned. What are your thoughts so far from the presentation being done as we wait for Chris to be back? Yes. What do you think, Rukia? And he's back. He's here. Thank you. You can still go on and share your views so far.
Okay. Apologies once again. So we're going to have an excerpt of blogs, and I want you to choose for me which one you think, and you write a number, which one you think is impactful in these three. If there's none, just write 0 in the chat box. So there are 3 excerpts. They're all blogging up around climate change. Which one do you think is impactful? If there's none, actually write 0.
We have Lydia with saying 1, Miss Prudy 3, Calvin 3. We have Mina saying 2. We have Irene saying 1. Antonin says 1. Isaac says 3. John, Joy, they both say 2. Yes, I think that's all for now. And Pavin says 3.
Actually, 0 of these excerpts are powerful enough, and I wouldn't expect a strong blog to have such information here. We believe that for someone in East Africa, the aim would be to localize, our experiences. If, for example, you're someone from Kisumu, I would prefer you begin local before you go global. So I would expect that you're writing about experiences that make more sense. Every action we take, big or small, matters. Sounds like a cliche statement which you've picked from I don't know where. It is the next step in creating a sustainable future. Yeah, but remember, the topic is we want agenda-just climate action. So let's go to the next slide and see the effectiveness of the blogs we want. Climate change is a huge problem, and we need to do something about it. It is time for action. But what can we do? Climate change is a serious threat, and we need to find solutions. It's not easy to solve this problem, but we must try. The world is facing a climate crisis, and we need to act now. It's too late to prevent climate change, but Anyone thinks any of these are effective? Oh yeah, there's a giveaway here of ineffective blog excerpts on climate change. Next time I'll be. The point here is we need as much local experiences for you as possible. I would love it if you are writing about an experience that you can get very good evidence for. For example, if you are writing about, for the Ugandan context, if you're writing about the most recent rubbish slides, for lack of a better word, and you can actually reach Chitezi and get some of the authentic videos or photos and include them in your blog, makes more sense. So the aim is for you to share stories that only you can share. Only you as a teacher from that locality can share. So even though you loved the first, second, and third excerpts before, I actually don't love them as much. They are better than this, but I would prefer that we are writing very, very, very localized, at least at the base level, very localized examples before we go global. So if you're writing something that is geared towards action, ensure that it is geared towards action in your area. If there's a project that is being worked on in your area and you think you can write a lot about it. If there is this case, for example, of Chemtai, the recent athlete, and you have a story about it, it will be very, very good for us, especially owing to the fact that it crosses borders from Uganda and to Kenya. Next slide, please. Evaluating blog effectiveness. Now, it is important that we know what is important to show that a blog is effective. First of all, consistency and relevancy of the engagement. So the content must, of course, be very engaging and also should be clear and written in a very compelling style. This is obvious. Of course, like all writers think, always have the audience in mind. Like I'd mentioned, we are targeting all teachers, not only teachers of the English language. And like the last ineffective excerpts that we showed, if you're telling everyone that climate change is a danger, but you have no idea on how to tackle it, then please don't write. Because yeah, half of the population know that. So please don't write. Write with actionable insights that are going to help the audience to at least doing something. That's the same with a call to action. Remember the name of the project, Gender Just Climate Action. So would love that the information that is consumed from your blog not only stirs action, not only stirs conviction, but also ensures that someone moves on and does something in their community, in their area of work, in the school, in the class that they are in. Visually appealing, I think I'd mentioned that, but I would like to add that please desist from going to the internet and searching, let's say, climate change and getting photos off the internet and using them in your blog. That's why in the first instance, I would prefer, if possible, generate your own videos, generate your own photos. It adds more color, adds more authenticity. If you do not have a quality device, please collaborate with your friend you use the photos that are within the public domain, well and good, but if not, I'd encourage that you use photos that you have taken yourself. I have mentioned a lot of these. What your ensure that constantly knows that is most likely going to be like, please. Or is my part over? Okay, thank you. A concluding remarks, it is very important that one, you're writing a story that you know a lot about, because a lot has been written about climate change. A lot has been written about gender equality. A lot has been written about inclusion and assessment. I would rather you write about stories where you can share in depth, more specifically from your local perspective. If you have very interesting insights from your teaching experience, that is very good. I would also like to announce that, especially from the INELTA part, that we have rewards for the best quality written blogs. Some of the ways that we use to judge the quality would be your engagement, especially the comments you get, the reactions you get, the feedback you get on your blog posts, the quality of writing, the quality of multimedia, and all that is following the principles of blogging. Lastly, I encourage you to use a positive and impactful tone to ensure that we are contributing to making this world a better place. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Christopher. Let us appreciate Christopher by sending him some informative session. Next, we have Amoni, who is going to be taking us through the practical part of blogging. Thank you very much. Welcome, Amoni.
Thank you very much. I will be sharing a few things about the technicalities of blogging. I would like to thank colleagues Rokia and Chris have gone before me, and a lot of what I would have what they have said, I can't emphasize enough. And so we're going to just take a look at some of how they can be implemented. I plan to use 30 minutes altogether, and we will have some few slides that introduce us to the technicalities, some of what we are going to be considering, and then we'll have some sample blogging with two sections, as Liberty said, with two sites, platforms. As Liberty said, we are going to have a survey where people will express interest and will later be matched. So prospectively, we're going to have a session with particular technicalities. So as we go through this part of the technicalities, let's be observant and look at things that we feel that speak best to us. And then together with those who will actually be taking forward the blogging processes, we are going to explore the specifics of what we settle for. As Liberty says, we are going to set up a space where we're going to be putting our blogs. And so what I'm going to say is partly a shopping list, but it is also where we will be coming from. Also reminding that this, we are blogging about specific topics, but also looking at our respective communities, our respective contexts. That is very important. Now to the technicalities. Just the previous slide, please. So I listed here some things that are important to consider in making our choices. We are going to be looking at our message, and pretty much the message is according to the subject that we are dealing with, but then we will tailor to the specifics of our context and our schools, our local communities. Then the content. Now the message, why I separate message and content is that they are different in terms of the questions you ask. And I'm going to say that we will have a particular slide on those. And then we also going to be looking at the audience, the tools and resources, and then the skills and the ethics and institutional regulations that we will be working within. Next slide, please. On the message, the particular question I suggest one would be asking is, what am I saying in this blog? What do I want to say? What is the story? What is the event that I'm blogging about? What am I concerned about? In other words, why am I blogging about this? What am I doing about it? Or what did I do about it if I have already done it, either individually or with others? And when you're going to mention people in a blog, unless they are fictitious characters, it's important that you get their permission. There is a situation where you can use pseudonyms, but as long as they cannot be retraced back to the owners of those names, you will need to have the permission of the people that you will be mentioning in the blog. We're not trying to do a wall of shame. We are trying to do at least the whole of shame. As Liberty said, we need to be a bit positive. But of course, if it's something that is public information, for example, there is a mining activity, you don't need to go to the miner or to the mining company to say, hey, I'm writing this blog and this is where I mention your name. That is public information. I mean here, for example, if you visited a colleague's experiential learning class, then what do I want others to do? That's the call to action. Liberty already said that. In terms of the content here, I mean particular formats of the content. If it's a video, then your best place would be, for example, video, YouTube, but there are other places that you can put videos, but really the normative one is YouTube. Then when you're using pictures, for example, Instagram, text and pictures, there are those we call traditional blogs, and we'll take a look at some of those. That's WordPress or Medium or Blogger. Next slide, please. The other part is the audience. The question to ask is, who am I communicating to and why? So we need to evaluate our target audience to try to meet them where they are. And we have to understand that our audience will not come to us. We are going to have to find them where they are. For example, when you want to communicate to professionals, and professionals in quotes, most people will say go to LinkedIn or use a website. And then when you want to communicate to young people, and here I'm speaking about the context of Uganda at least, meet them on Facebook, meet them on TikTok, meet them on Instagram. If you want to communicate to academics, you'll meet them on Twitter, for example. You'll meet them and politicians, I should say. You'll meet them on LinkedIn and on websites. Now I have a question. Click again, please. that we need to consider, if we can just reflect about this. Since we are teachers and we want to communicate mostly to teachers, but also to others, where do teachers in your context mostly hang out online? Just reflect and post in the chat and say, for example, teachers in Kampala are on, or they are on LinkedIn, they are on Facebook. What's in your experience? Just in the chat, please. Where do teachers in your context normally hang out online? Where do you meet them if you wanted to speak to teachers?
As I say, many teachers in Kenya hang out on Facebook and TikTok. Facebook, we have Isaac saying Facebook.
Yeah.
Nancy says TikTok. Irene says college groups formed on WhatsApp. Shaba says TikTok. Joy says Facebook and WhatsApp.
Nice.
Shaba says yes. And then we have Richie who says WhatsApp. Lydia, Facebook, TikTok. Irene, WhatsApp, Instagram. In Ghana, we have WhatsApp and Telegram. Antonine, WhatsApp group.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so if we go to the next slide, as we go to the next slide, I would like to again reiterate that I see that we have a lot of WhatsApp, Instagram, we have a lot of Facebook. We would need to balance between the purpose of the blogging and the audience. Because let's take an example of WhatsApp. WhatsApp is normally a closed platform for only those who are on that. And people who are not on your WhatsApp group will not see what's in the message, what's in there. So it will, if you blog on WhatsApp, yes, it will reach the people, but only those who are already converts. If, for example, you use Facebook and it's a closed group, only people within that closed group will actually access the information. So when you go blogging, it's important to balance between accessibility and targeting the audience. So if you have people, for example, on Facebook, it might be an idea to look at posting on Facebook and publicly, so that those you are targeting and those people who will come, who you were not targeting, will actually get the information. And then tools and resources. Within the project that we are implementing, there is a deliberate effort to ensure that we are inclusive. And I do understand from being a Ugandan teacher that not everyone will have access to a computer, but many of the people that we are targeting will have a smartphone, because many of the, smartphones are getting more increasingly used. So as you go blogging, you as a blogger need to think about, okay, if I'm going to target a site, can my device support me when I want to do this blogging? And as an example, a laptop will help you to work with a website and most other blogging tasks. A mobile phone may not support website blogging, but will help with social media blogging. And then there is the issue of skills. Blogging sites differ in terms of complexity. Well, you don't need coding skills right now to work with a website or a website blog, but you still need a bit more technicalities than when, for example, making a Facebook post or an Instagram post. And then there is TikTok. You probably need a way of putting pictures together into a video, integrating a voice. But luckily, some of these things have been done automatically, and we can easily navigate them. Next slide, please. Now, this is very important. This is very important, and I really want to invite someone to read it for us. If I read it, maybe someone will be I want to make sure that someone with a better voice reads it. No, it's this particular slide. The ethics and institutional regulations, and I'm asking us to take this seriously, because what we put on the internet is not going to, will always leave traces, whether you delete it or not. And so it's important that what we blog, we are sure that that's what we want to blog and we can stand by it. That's very important. Do I have a volunteer to read this for me, please?
Okay, can I read it?
Please.
Okay. Blogging as a teacher will differ from blogging as an individual. More to that, you will be blogging about a particular project within a particular community of practice and often in collaboration with students. So, ethical issues must be kept in mind. Discuss iteratively with co-bloggers, community members, and leaders that your blogs relate to. We're not sure, ask and or seek help.
Thank you very much, Arthur. Thank you very much, Arthur. So I highlight this because we want to keep a positive vibe around what we are blogging, and we want to make sure that it doesn't cause harm either to ourselves, to our schools, to our students, to everyone else. Remember that sustainability is not just about nature, it's also about social sustainability. Now let's go into the practical section. Unless there is a question. Now, in the practical session, I suggest to share my screen because I will be showing us just a few things here. Well, I'm using two screens, so I think I need to move this to the screen. So one thing about when I'm working with two screens is that then I start looking in the sky because I'm using a second screen. So with this second, with this practical session, I want us to try some blogging with LinkedIn and with just a traditional blog, with a traditional blog. I will just illustrate using my own blog, which is a WordPress blog. I have to warn you that I haven't updated it in a long while, so please bear with me on that. Life can be quite taxing sometimes, but this is what it is. It's amonichitoke.wordpress.com. And when you see the WordPress aspect, that means it is still free. And you can see that there is a banner here asking me to upgrade for $4 per month if I want to remove the WordPress mark. But mine is just a basic one. And so this is just something that I created to put myself out there. And you can organize these tabs by yourself, by whatever you want. And I just want us to use it to do a sample post. The technicalities of how to set up this blog can be discussed later, but I'm just showing what it looks like so that as we go ahead to explore between now and the next session, we have an idea, and I encourage us to try this out. So just create a post here. I prepared some text beforehand, and this is a text that this is a text that I prepared on the subject, which I call Climate Change and Gender Justice, a story from our village. And I could have named my village, but I left it open so that you can see your village in that. And I use the word village here sparingly because We could use community if you don't come from a village like myself. I'm a country boy. If you are in the city, you could say in my neighborhood or the equivalent. So this is the section for the title, and then you can have the text. I prepared this beforehand. Let's assume that you have already crafted your message. And if you wanted to add a feature image, if you want to add a feature image, you could select from the media library, from your phone, or from Google Photos, or from the computer. I will select from, I will upload from my computer. And well, I am going to select one picture. I did some pictures using AI. I collected using AI, but I did some with AI, and well, we want to use AI very sparingly because it's very energy it consumes a lot of energy. So please use AI sparingly, but for this session, I created this. So I'm putting a feature image, and if you could save the draft, but now I want to publish this, and then we can see how it looks like on my blog, where we can add these tags, get published. So let's go back to my WordPress and see what it looks like. Okay, what is it? My thoughts. Where did I put this? It says it's published and it's in the archives. Where did it go? Let's see if it's published really. Climate justice. View post. Okay, here. So here's what it looks like where I posted it. Now, as you can see, this shows as a cover image and it shows up here. But if you want to post it, you can still edit the post if you want to edit it to appear on the same page and add, for example, here, you can add an image, insert, oh, give me a sec. On the post, okay. Inline. Okay, no, sorry. Okay, sorry. As you can see, I'm growing older than I thought. Okay, here. Yes, this is what I wanted. Now we're going to add another picture. Let's say I want to add the picture of a borehole with someone drinking. Well, I'm talking about Miriam in this, and then I can decide where I want to put this. So let's see what it looks like now. Oh, we didn't save it. Save, and let's see what it looks like. So we could tweak this and insert pictures where we want. But it's really saying, I watched her every morning. Miriam, a woman from our village who rises before the sun. She slings her yellow jerrycan over her shoulder, heavy with the anticipation of a journey ahead. Miriam walks for hours in search of water, her feet covered in dust, her back bent from years of carrying this burden. The weight of climate change rests heavily on her shoulders, and with every step, my heart breaks a little more. The text is long. I won't read the whole of it, but there is an important part on the call to action. I urge you to join us, protect the environment, support women in your community, and push for climate change policies that bring justice to those who are often ignored. Let's not let the strengths of the women like Mariamu go to waste. Let us be the change that they desperately need. Each of us can make small changes that have a big impact. Be mindful of water use, whether you are showering or doing laundry. Conserve water possible and stuff, aspects like that. And then, as Liberty said, it's important to acknowledge the project in which we are working. Our exploration of climate change and gender justice in the classroom and local community has been triggered by involvement in transnational projects by UNELTA and LPAC, supported by the British Council. We have 5 minutes to go. This is one example of a traditional blog. And for those who are going to be interested in this skill and how to explore this, we can have a session later. Then the second one is a LinkedIn. And again, I'm going to post pre-prepared text. Now with LinkedIn, there is, I would like to point our attention to something called groups in LinkedIn. And with the groups, we can create our own. Hello? Was someone saying something? Hello? Okay, so I was just saying that with LinkedIn, there is something called groups, and we can create a group for our community, for our community of practice, and groups just appear like this. I'm just showing you what it is there. There is one, for example, that I belong to. In this one, it's, well, this is just randomly from one of those that I have. I'm just demonstrating. So this is one community. You can see that people post here, like different people. So if we did something like this, every group would be able to post their text here, and the text will be moderated. And if we do create, for example, a group here, we would call it what we want to call it, like Teachers Blogging Climate Action, and we will start creating our content here. Now I want to just experiment with creating a text. I will not publish this because I'm not sure I want to do this. Again, it's going to be the same post. I will copy and paste the text. With LinkedIn, well, this is the same text and the same content that we posted earlier. Then I will upload my image. Let's say, I want to upload this one, and here you can pick it. Then it looks like this. You can preview it, and this is what it's going to look like when you have taken your picture, and it will look like this. And then people can come and comment here. I remember that Liberty was talking about engagement. So this is where you would be having your following. Yeah. So this is what it would look like if we choose to go with this kind of blogging. Now I will stop sharing. We have only 2 minutes, and I have shown what I thought we would discuss. But in case there is a question, I would use these 2 minutes to respond to it. It might be a question to me or to my colleagues who spoke before me. So over to you, colleagues. Question, wondering, fears, anything?
We have people commenting. Rukia says, great demonstration. Thank you, Amoni. And Stuart. Raymond says, great demonstration. We have Mina who says, for those interested in blogs, how will you assist us, Mr. Amoni? Then, yeah, maybe you can answer.
Okay, thank you very much, Maina. Liberty is going to share with us and through LPAC as well, a survey. So those who are interested, we will have further engagements. This was only an introductory session.
Thank you. We have Arthur says, thanks for the good job. Straight to LinkedIn from here. Then you have Kataka, fabulous. Frederick, thank you, Amoni, Chris, and all. Quite informative. And then you have Irene. I have a question. Yes, Irene, maybe you can share your question or maybe unmute. Then we have Danson. That was a great job. Thank you. Maina says thank you. Vicky says interesting demonstration. I've learned a lot from it. I think I will cascade it with my colleagues at Thank you.
That's very important. Cascading. Yes. Thank you.
Maybe you can unmute and ask the question.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for such an amazing presentation. Personally, I'm a teacher of English. I love spoken word. I love all the other things. But from the story I just read about that traditional point of view, so I've never thought of maybe writing a poem or writing any kind of material, but I'm interested to maybe start small. So my question to Amoni is, where do such people begin from? Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for asking. Please, Jen, if you allow me a minute to answer this, I could just share my screen again to show you the humble beginning that I have had with my own WordPress. If you can see my screen now, I have a section where I have works, and I have a section on poetry. This is not really poetry in a very professional sense, but sometimes when I had some whims, I would write to myself and put them up on my blog. So you write you create a WordPress like mine and just paste in your poem. And well, this is, for example, one I call A Swallowship for Bed Bugs. It's just a poem that I wrote and I posted it here. I have this one called Nyazification. I have a few others, I think. Hating to love my motherland. Like you really don't need to be proficient at blogging or thank you, sorry. So Irene, it's very important, but just try to tweak around with WordPress or Wix if you want to try Wix. There are a few others that we will explore in the forthcoming sessions. But if you are interested, we can share contacts and reach out to me in LinkedIn, and we can share some ideas to get you started. I hope answers. Yeah.
Yes. I think so. I think that was great, Amoni. Just to encourage others, there will still be a session, another informative session. Besides, this is just the first one. And I want to invite Christopher to speak more about the next part of this. Thank you.
Okay, I would also start by saying there are some levies for if you want to do some more sophisticated blogging, but much of the blogging platforms are usually free. Like Amoni has demonstrated. Maybe I would like to just add, I like Medium. Medium is also a nice platform that you can try. WordPress is very good. Like Amoni has mentioned, you will find a way of using platforms that you most likely get more comfortable with. I don't know if Chair will allow Amoni to answer one or two of the other questions that are coming in. Just wanted to add that. Then I will go on to what has brought me here again. So now that we've done with the breaking ground, whichever order you want to use session, we are going to have more subsequent sessions, but these ones will be more tailored to those who have already showed strong interest in blogging. Like Alan mentioned, we're going to ensure that we are working across the countries to ensure that we have both Ugandan and Kenyan bloggers. It would be perfect if we have male and female, but we can't dictate that. That would be the perfect match. Remember, we are also writing about gender equality, so we would love to write about gender equality from both perspectives. And someone who is saying the gender equality part was not mentioned a lot. We have 4 themes that we want to include in our blogging. It is quite difficult to embrace all of them with equal measure in around 2 hours. But we will most definitely do that in the subsequent sessions. So if that's an interest, if that's an area you're interested in, you're going to show that in this form that I've shared. The link is in the chat box. Open it, especially those who are interested in taking the next step. We will get back to you on those that we've selected to move on to the next stage. So the most important thing to do now is to fill as much information as you can on this form. I know that some of the teachers have not joined because I see around 30 or less. We aim to have an equal number from both Kenya and Uganda. So fill in as soon as possible. We will give you about a week, and then after 7 days, we'll close the form. So fill it if you're interested in moving on to the next step with us in this part of the project. So from here, we're going to form another group where we will have constant communication with the people who are interested, and much of the information on how to move forward will be communicated with those who have showed strong interest in moving on with us to the next bits of the project. Of course, obviously, the biggest part of the project is, as you can already guess, blogging, putting all the ideas that Rukia shared, that I shared, that Ammonia shared, that everyone that has spoken here has shared, to practice, because I will keep reminding you that this is a very action-oriented project and we want to have proper outcomes. Okay, I can't say visible or tangible. Yeah, I can say visible outcomes, that is complete blogs. So we also have a timeline on for how long you will blog for. That is something we'll communicate, and how we will finalize the matching to ensure that you get someone who is aligned to your interests. If you have any questions about the process, please first finish completing the form. Most likely, you can finish it now, well and good, but if you don't, at least open it and ask the questions now.
I think that is well put. We want to appreciate Amani for the session that he has taken us through. So let us send him some love emojis for presentation. It was a very awesome presentation. Meanwhile, the link has been sent on the chat by Christopher, the Google form that you're supposed to fill in. So kindly you can go through it and also fill in as soon as possible. I would advise you just do it now. The earlier the better, so that you just get done with it. Blogging is a very important thing. It helps us, all of us, put our voice out there. So I would encourage that we all be part of this, that your voice may be heard, you be the voice of your community, of your village, as Amoni had put it. And I believe it doesn't stop here. It goes out to the world. So this could be the chance that sends your voice out there. So we have people who are here to support. We have Rukia, we have Amoni, we have Christopher, plus others who are willing to mentor. And it is a good opportunity to collaborate with Uganda. So let us seize this opportunity. Someone says, kindly reshare the link. We'll do that again. There it is. So there it is. So can give you 2 minutes or 1 minute to be able to click into the link that will take you to the Google form. Unless you have anything else, anyone with anything else, then we can.
Hi, Jen.
Yeah, the chair is here. Hi, Frederick. Welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. Just came in late because I had to travel from Kisumu after attending one of the in-person meetings with the Kisumu chapter members. And thanks for everyone for joining and attending and participating. Thanks, Amoni. Thanks, Christopher, and all the UNELTA members. And thanks also to LPAC members who have joined. I just wanted to reinforce that this is one of the projects that we have with the UNELTA. The LPAC members, you know, we have a project with the British Council, and we were collaborating with UNELTA because they're also running the same project with the British Council. So this is the area that we said we would collaborate in about blogging. And I think we've started it and we'll get more information. I want to say that I have not known anything about blogging, but I've learned a lot today. Thanks, Amoni, for that. and I think I'll be I'm a good student. I'll be a better blogger at the end of by the end of the project. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you, everybody. Thank you also for organizing this session. I know we expected quite a number, as Chris said. From Kenyan side, we expected quite a number, and we like to encourage our chapter leaders who are here to mobilize their members to join our webinars and future our webinars, as we have been saying in the in-person meetings. I know people have different commitments, but just sacrificing for 1 hour. So that's what I wanted to say, Jane. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rukia. Thank you, Amoni. Thank you, Grace, and your Ugandan team, and also the Kenyan team. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Arthur, for that good organization. I was with your team, and that's what we expect. In fact, people like us, we say that we rely on you emerging leaders to keep us going. So I'm very much grateful to everyone who is here, and you people, please continue. So I just had to talk because maybe I'm the chair, but the session was yours. But I'm very happy about what you people are doing. We'll give you the necessary support. Thank you.